What is up everyone, Moving back again with another Blu-ray and 4K update. This is me showing off all the movies I've bought over the past few weeks. I've got a nice little stack here, so let's just get straight into it. You know how these videos work, I'm sure. So I've got a few 4Ks here, and about half and half, I feel. Yeah, about half and half with the 4Ks and the Blu-rays. So let's just get into it now. The first one I picked up is Super Mario Brothers, the movie, on 4K. I had such a blast with this at the cinema. Mario is a video game franchise that I've grew up with since the SNES days, the SNES days, when I had Mario All-Stars, the first game I bought for that. I've been playing it on the Switch, on the Wii over the years. I love the franchise. It's so strong. And I was kind of nervous with going into this movie just in case they messed it up. But this is definitely one of the greatest or the best video game adaptations they've ever brought out within any of the video game adaptations. But Nintendo and Illumination Studios done such a good job here. What a bright, colourful movie this is, with great voice acting. A lot of people were on the fence with that, with Chris Pratt and stuff, but I thought he'd done a great job. You know, Bowser, played by Jack Black and stuff, steals the show. It's just a really fun movie. It's a very simple story, but that's all I needed. And I really hope they do another one. I'm sure they will, because this made a ton at the box office. But yeah, definitely one of the best video game movies that, you know, that's been made. And I hope this drives Nintendo to do more of their IPs, you know, and bring like a Zelda movie out and stuff. But very, very happy to own this, and I had to grab it on 4K, so that is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Next up, we have Scream 6. Now, this was my favourite horror movie of the year, but there's another one in here, which I'm going to get to in a minute, that has overtaken that. But I love this franchise. I think it's one of the strongest horror movie franchises alongside The Evil Dead. And this was actually my second favourite sequel after Scream 4. I loved the whole New York setting. I loved Ghostface in this. I thought, you know, the dark jokes that were coming down the phone and stuff just really made me laugh. The scene in the convenience store was awesome, where Ghostface has got a bloody shotgun at one point. And I like all these new legacy characters like Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega and stuff. I just think it's a fun Scream movie. There were some really tense sequences, especially involving a subway scene where that kind of went on forever, but I was sitting in the cinema like, oh, what's going to happen here? And there's some great kills in here and stuff. It's just a really fun Scream film. I think the reveal towards the end is a little bit silly, and that kind of put the movie downhill for me, but everything else I kind of loved. So yeah, I had a great time with this at the cinema. And one of my favourite movies of 2023, so I had to grab it to complete the Scream collection. Looking forward to Scream 7. That is Scream 6. Next up, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I buy every Marvel movie that comes out, even if I may wait for the sale. But yeah, this was just the next one down the line I grabbed. I went to the cinema to watch this. I had an okay time with it. I didn't absolutely love it. I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people. I just thought it was a fine movie. And that's what I find with these Marvel movies nowadays. I don't think I have to be at one end of the spectrum. Like, a lot of people either have to love it or hate it. Like, it's the best movie ever, it's the worst thing. I just was in the middle. I thought this movie was fine. I had a good time with it. The introduction of Kang was cool. You know, he was a great villain, even though I think the villain in Guardians Volume 3 was better than him. But yeah, it's a fun enough movie. There is a overload of CGI in here, though, that kind of bogged it down. But then again, what Marvel movies don't have CGI? However, this one just had a little bit more than usual. But I'm glad to own it, to carry on my Marvel movie collection. Interesting to see where Marvel's going to go now, because a lot of people seem to be getting a little bit fed up. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do. But I feel like they might be a little bit lost themselves. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see what the Marvels can offer us, which is the next movie coming out. But that is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Next up, we have one of my favourite horror movies of 2022, and that is Smile. I had a blast with this at the cinema. I think it follows a lot of tropes from It Follows, a lot of story beats. Basically, this curse kind of follows you around. If you see this person smile, and you're next in line for the chain of being devoured by this thing and stuff. But it was a really good mystery movie. You know, is it Sosie Bacon? Or Soa Reese Bacon? I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Kevin Bacon's daughter. She was great in this movie. I thought she put a great performance in. Some really creepy moments. I loved how all the actors, how they smiled and stuff. They were all cast brilliantly. Yeah, just a really, really dark tale that, well, even though it takes a lot of story beats from It Follows, it's still done enough to stand on its own, I feel, and still felt unique and fresh. So yeah, I didn't hold much hope for this one, I must admit, but then when I went to see it, I thought, wow, that was a really clever movie. So yeah, Smile, one of my favourite horror movies of 2022, had to pick it up on 4K. Next up, we have a film that I watched for the first time this year over on Netflix, and that is Red Eye on 4K. Cillian Murphy and Rachel McAdams is kind of a cast that I'm going to get on board with. I did not know, excuse the pun, on board. I didn't know Rachel McAdams was in this movie until I looked it up on Netflix, and I love her in Wedding Crashers. And Cillian Murphy is just a brilliant actor. You know, I love him in Peaky Blinders and stuff. Obviously, he was in Oppenheimer this year. And when I seen Rachel McAdams was in this, I thought, yeah, I'm just going to give this a go. It's a 1 hour and 20-minute movie. It absolutely, excuse the pun again, flies by. This is such a fast-paced thriller. But it's basically about Rachel McAdams who gets on this plane, and she's sitting next to a stranger who seems very charismatic. She likes him and stuff. And then next minute, something turns within the story, and she finds herself in a lot of trouble with this stranger who's sitting next to her. And there's a lot more deeper meaning as to why he's doing this and stuff. But yeah, Red Eye was such a fun thriller. You know, one of Wes Craven's best movies, I think. And as soon as I watched it on Netflix, I knew I had to have it in the collection. But about a week later, they announced this 4K, so I'm finally glad to have picked this up and own it in the collection. It's kind of a must. But yeah, that is Red Eye. Next up is a film I have not seen. There's a couple in here I haven't seen, but I think I have watched the majority of them. But I've been after this one for a while now, and that is Stephen King's Cat's Eye. I'm on a kind of a mission to watch every Stephen King movie, and I believe this is an anthology series. It's got Drew Barrymore in there, and James Woods, about a cat that, I think it travels to 3 different locations, and you see a story through its eye, I think, but I'm not quite certain. But I've heard good things about this one. I haven't seen too many anthology horror movies, even though I'm a big horror fan. There's a few I haven't seen, and I know they're quite a popular subgenre. But yeah, it's Stephen King. I'm gonna give it a go. So I'm glad to finally own this one. Can't wait to check this out. That is Cat's Eye. Next up is another film I have not seen, unfortunately, and that is Edge of Tomorrow. Now, I wasn't really interested in watching Tom Cruise movies until about 2 years ago, when I finally watched Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, and Fallout, and I thought, wow, these movies are amazing. I wasn't massive on the Mission Impossible franchise at that point, but when I watched them two, I was like, oh my god, these are some of the best action films I've ever seen. Then I watched Top Gun Maverick and stuff, and I'm just like a Tom Cruise fan now. And I've watched a few more of his movies that I hadn't seen, like Minority Report and stuff. This is one that people have told me that is one of his best films. I believe it's like a Groundhog Day movie where he's at war with these aliens with Emily Blunt, but he's in these big machines or something. However, he finds he learns something new every time he dies. I think that's what it's about, and that's how he defeats these aliens. But I'm not quite certain on that. It's just the plot synopsis I read. I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I'm a fan of Emily Blunt as well, so I'm sure the 4K on this might look pretty good. I know it's a new release, but yeah, really thin case there. I don't mind these thin cases though, but it does feel a bit cheap. But I suppose it's gonna give you more room on the shelf, so I'm not too bothered about that. It's the disc inside that I care about. That is Edge of Tomorrow. Next up, we had another movie I haven't seen. Don't worry, there are some I have seen in a minute, but this one was one that I just wanted to grab straight away, and it's very rare I buy movies when they come out straight away. I sometimes wait for a sale or a little bit of a price drop, but 18 Films brought this one out, and I thought I just have to grab this, and that is Taxi Hunter. Now, I just heard that this is about a guy whose this taxi driver kills his wife or something, and he goes out on a big hell-bent revenge mission to kill a load of taxi drivers. Now, I'm not sure if these taxi company is like a mafia run taxi company or something. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to checking it out. And it is a Category 3 movie where Hong Kong banged a load of horror movies. Banned a load of movies because they were a bit violent and excessive of stuff. I think that's what it is. Or they were just given this Category 3 rating certificate. And I've seen a couple of these films now. Ricky O was one of them, and I thought that movie was amazing, but it was so bloody and gory. I don't know how violent this one is, but I just feel like this is a movie that's going to be for me. So yeah, very happy to have picked this one up. That is Taxi Hunter. Next up, we do have my #1 horror movie of the year, and this is actually now my #1 movie overall of 2023 so far. Will it be beaten? Who knows? But that is Infinity Pool. Now, I missed this at the cinema because it was on at like 9:30 every single night, and I knew I was going to fall asleep. I get up for work at 6 o'clock, and I've got 2 babies in the house, a 1-year-old and a bloody 6-week-old. Although he wasn't born when this come out, but I was still struggling with the 1-year-old. However, I just knew that I was going to struggle if I went to cinema at 9:30 and it started at 10 and it was a 2-hour movie. And I was a bit gutted about that because I was really looking forward to this one. It's got Mia Goth in, for God's sake. You know, I just absolutely adore her. And this is no exception because she is fantastic in this movie. But this was such a brilliant film from Brandon Cronenberg. Definitely intrigued to check out his other 2 movies now, Possessor, and there's another one that sounds really good. I think it's from 2012. I forgot the name of it. But this basically follows Alexander Skarsgård and his soon-to-be wife, and they meet this couple, Mia Goth and her boyfriend, and have a little drink with them and stuff. But something happens that night where Alexander Skarsgård's character gets in a lot of trouble with the police, and I can't say more than that. But what happens is just something I never thought I'd see in a movie. I absolutely loved the direction this went in. It was so weird and amazing and creepy, and the movie is just full of great characters as well. Brandon Cronenberg knows where to point the camera. Visually stunning movie. I just absolutely loved it. I did. From start to finish, I was like fully invested in this film. Brilliant, brilliant movie. It's not going to be for everyone, but it sure as shit was for me. So that is Infinity Pool. Next up, we have another Mia Goth movie, and that is Pearl. I know there's probably going to be a 4K down the road and stuff, but I just grabbed the damn thing. I'm sick of waiting around for movies to be released and stuff, and if they do bring a 4K out, I probably won't even upgrade it. I'll just be happy with this. I've got X as well, but yeah, this wasn't as good as X for me, but it was still a really, really solid film. The origins of Pearl and how she began to be this sadistic killer. Mia Goth just puts a fantastic performance in here. This is a more small-scale story where it all takes place on this farm and this little tiny town, and it's about Pearl wanting to become this massive star. She's hungry for fame, but she's kind of got to stay at home and look at her father, and look after her father, and the mother's very strict with her. This just drives her to insanity and makes her become the sadistic killer that she was in X. But one of the best movie scenes in 2022, the credit scene, I absolutely love that. But Mia Goth is a star, man. Let her star in as many movies as damn possible. But Pearl, another great horror movie from 2022. Next up, we have The Nun. Now, I wanted to check this out because I hadn't seen it, and The Nun 2 is coming out. I reviewed The Nun 2 over on my horror channel. I'll leave the link down below for that if you want to go and check it out. And I was expecting terrible things from this. And you know what? This movie started off really well. I was intrigued in the story. I liked the whole visual look of it. Like, this movie is visually stunning. It feels like a horror movie should look. The demon Valak is so creepy and sinister looking. And after about 30 minutes, this movie just started to level out and become very, very stale and boring, unfortunately. After a decent little start, Teresa Farmiga is a great actress, but you really do think you're looking at a young Vera Farmiga in this, and is it the origin of her character? Because she looked like her so much. But yeah, this is one of the weaker movies in the Conjuring universe. Just because it was just a little bit of a dull story. It all takes place in the one location in this abbey, and it doesn't really work because you're just stuck there with this very simple movie that just relies on jump scares, really. But I didn't hate it. It was just very, very forgettable. That is the Nun. Next up, we have The Curse of La Llorona, which people say is the worst movie in the Conjuring universe. It's definitely down there. I did like it a little bit more than The Nun, and that is due to the fact that this demon is very sinister and goes around drowning children and stuff. And I was like, whoa, this is horrifying. And it started off really well once again, like The Nun, and then just kind of went downhill down the generic route and just relied on jump scares once again. So yeah, after a really cool concept, this movie just streamlined out. It's a very similar feeling to The Nun, where you were just like, oh, yeah, seen this all before. Let's just get to the end now so I can finish the movie. Like I said, didn't hate it, definitely didn't love it, but I'm glad to have finally caught up with this universe now. That is The Curse of La Llorona. Next up, we have The Wedding Singer. Now, this is a pretty hard one to find. I never see it in HMV or anything, and the price has shot up a little bit there on websites, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to grab this now before it goes totally out of print, because I watched this on Prime not long ago, and I really enjoyed it. You know, just one of Adam Sandler's better movies. I love the chemistry between him and Drew Barrymore in this. And you really want them to get together and succeed, because Drew Barrymore's boyfriend in this is just a total asshole, one of the biggest movie jerks you've ever met in your life. And you really just kind of feel for her. You feel kind of sorry for her. She's got a strange hairdo in this one, though, I must admit. I don't think it was quite working for her. But yeah, a really funny movie at times, and a really half good rom-com with that, you know, it's got a lot of heart to it. So yeah, this is in Adam Sandler's prime, I think, and one of his better movies. I still like Adam Sandler, but yeah, all his old stuff like Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, and this with his better stuff, wasn't it? So I'm glad to finally own this in the collection. That is The Wedding Singer. Next up is a movie I have never ever seen. It's probably the most popular movie that I've never seen, because I feel like everyone has seen this except me. I've been after this one for a while. Again, like The Wedding Singer, it's kind of hard to find. Never see it in HMV or anything. I never come across it in CEX, so I got it online. And that is Mrs. Doubtfire. Yes, a film I have never seen. And you think I would have, because I grew up on these 90s family films like Dennis the Menace, Home Alone, Blank Check and stuff. And I had VHSs where the adverts for this were just, the trailers were just advertised constantly before the film come on. So I've seen it so many times. I love Robin Williams. I just never got round to it. I don't know why, but I'm finally gonna get to it now. So yeah, a very popular film I have never seen, but I'm glad to finally own it. So hopefully I'll get to this one soon and just enjoy it. I think this is a movie I'm gonna throw on where I'm just gonna be have a fun time, I suppose, because that's exactly what it looks like. That is Mrs. Doubtfire. Next up, we have The Expendables 3. Now, I broke my little rule here, because if there's 4Ks out there and a Blu-ray, and I don't own it, I'm just going to grab the 4K. However, I broke my rule here, not just with this one, but with the next movie I'm going to show. But I just feel like this is a franchise that I don't love. I don't think I'll be going back to it all that often. But I do own the first two. I enjoyed the second a lot more than the first. I just haven't seen this one. And we do have The Expendables 4 coming soon. And it's just really, really cheap. So I thought, you know what, I'll just grab the Blu-ray. I'm just going to grab the Blu-ray, watch this, go and see the fourth one with my mate. And I'll finally have, you know, watched them all. And don't know what to expect from it. I don't know if this is the weakest or the strongest in the franchise. I have no idea. Looks like a fun cast of characters. Mel Gibson in there. Yep. Give me him all day. I think he's a great actor. I love him. And Arnie is in there, of course. Arnold's the man. So yeah, I'll probably watch this one in the next week or two before going to see The Expendables 4. So that is The Expendables 3. And the other movie I broke my rule with there. I know there's a 4K of this, but my cousin actually lent me the Blu-ray of this a few weeks ago in preparation for the new movie. And this is the only one I hadn't seen. And then I had Bumblebee to watch, so I went and bought Bumblebee. But this was the only one I didn't own in the collection, and that is Transformers the last night. And I basically bought this just to complete my Transformers collection, because I own them all except this one, and the new one, Rise of the Beast, when that comes out. I'll have to grab that as well. But I can guess why you know why. I'm guessing some of you know why I've picked this up over the 4K. I probably never really want to watch this film again. I may do when there's a franchise. If I do a franchise rewatch with my wife, I've just got them all in. But this was, again, really, really cheap. And I just felt like I needed it on the shelf to be a completionist. But it isn't a very good movie at all. However, another reason I picked this Blu-ray up is that it was one of the best looking Blu-rays I've ever seen. This movie looked absolutely incredible on my OLED TV downstairs. And I thought, do I really need a 4K upgrade for this? Because it looked fantastic anyway. But yeah, I own it now. It's in my Transformers collection. And it was really cheap, so that's why I picked it up. Maybe one day when I go through it all, if my wife wants to watch them, that's probably the only time I'll revisit it. But I've got it now. That is Transformers The Last Night. The things us collectors do. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed that Blu-ray and 4K collection update. Please let me know what you think of these movies. And if you want more Blu-ray and 4K updates, they'll be in the description down below as well. Thanks so much guys. Take it all easy. I'll see you all in the next video.